failing to get teams to connect to Riverside because Riverside just wouldn't pick up the display. And I don't have the ability to pay for the fancy Riverside edition to get the display nicely a large part of the screen. This is just how we're going to go. Each of us have 1/3 of the screen, including Lars's screen share. This is great. Lars, let's repeat. Right. How are you doing?
I'm good, Josh. Thank you. Hey, and how are you?
You know what? I was doing better before I had to wrestle with OBS, but I think I'm okay now. I think it's going to be all right.
Yeah. Well, let's relax. I'm sharing my screen so I can do the work.
Thanks.
And you can relax.
Let me see what happens if I turn my camera off, just out of curiosity. Oh, this is cool. Riverside just freezes the screen. But yeah, so Lars, we were talking earlier about the industry and Knip. Now that it's 24 minutes in, I think we can skip or start the actual pairing. Can you start us off? What is Knip?
Yeah, of course. Thanks. Knip really started out of a need I had myself in a project like a little over a year ago now. And it was quite a large project. And at some point, people were copying files from one workspace in the monorepo to another without deleting the old files. And then at some point, you can guess what happened. The old files didn't get deleted. And in one pull request, you can do a review and find it still, but of course, you don't see everything and you forget, and that's only human. So I was thinking, hey, can we automate this? And looking for similar tools, and that didn't really work out because they need a lot of configuration, and every project is really different and custom. And so, And then at some point I was thinking, maybe I can try to build something, and that is how it started basically. And so what Knip does is to find unused things, files, dependencies, and exports in a project. So that was a very long answer for saying that it finds unused stuff in your project. That's the goal.
You answered my next question also, which is how Knip came to be. Great, 2 for 1. So Knip, from reading the website, I think you do a very careful job in it. Nicely done, of not trying to prescribe how people do work with Knip. Knip, in many places on knip.dev, says, we're not trying to tell you how to do things. We'll just detect whatever you're doing works for us. Does that not make your life a lot harder trying to support every possible configuration of projects known to JavaScript kind?
Absolutely. Knip is like a blessing and a curse, exactly because of that reason. So it is like impossible to cater for any situation. People have so many ways of doing things, and there are so many frameworks and libraries you can use, etc., etc. So that is a curse. And on the other hand, it is, I think it's like doable to cover like 80 or 90% of cases in a reasonable manner and in a reasonable project with a acceptable performance. So the goal is to have as little configuration as possible and still cover as many possible cases as possible. So and that is like nowhere near done at all. On the other hand, it gets better every day, little by little, step by step.
Do you think a task ever will get more than 99 or 98% done?
No, I don't have that. I don't have that perception, because it's often when people run Knip for the first time, it gives like pages and pages of false negatives or false positives. So it can be overwhelming to start using it, and that is why it can be a hard sell. On the other hand, with only just a little bit of direction, you need to give Knip sometimes. Sometimes you don't need to give it any configuration, by the way. But if you give it a little bit of hints on where it should look for, it can, especially in the long run, it can save you a lot of work and really keep your projects very tidy if you want to.
That makes sense. Would you be able to show us, by the way, before we jump into using it with ESLint, a quick demo of it on a straightforward project, just so we can visually see in that bottom half of the screen what it looks like?
Yeah, sure. Let's. Actually, I can go to the TypeScript repository maybe, because I run Knip against the TypeScript repository, and then, for instance, because in this case it's already installed there, so you can see it is a dev dependency here.
Oh, I only see, just a heads up, I only see your Knip VS Code instance, not your full screen.
That is a great thing to let me know. Thank you. Sorry about that. I was going to the terminal and typing there. So, sorry. I will stay in
I've
this
done much
window.
worse myself.
Yeah. So I said, like, I'm running Knip against the TypeScript repository itself, because that is a really great exercise for Knip, because it's a large and quite complex project. So it's a good test to see if it doesn't explode, if it runs fast, and if it finds all the edge cases too, because many things can be exported in a certain way, which is not everything is even straightforward to create a dependency graph from, basically. So so here we can see that Knip is installed. You know, I installed the latest version here, and when we run it, this is one way to do it. I am, by default, I have that debugger attached. I can turn that off, but doesn't matter too much. You can see that Knip is running, connecting the dots, and there's a lot of output here, and that's fine. So here you can see.
Ooh, TypeScript's got some new stuff. Could you zoom in once, Ashley, by the way, since we're on the small display here?
Yeah.
Thanks.
Is that better? Yeah. Okay, so this is maybe a nice summary indeed. So here you can see that Knip finds unused files, unresolved imports, unused exports, and there's another similar type of unused exports in namespaces. It's a different category. Well, we can talk about that later, but there's a reason for that. And there's also unused exported types, or enums or enum members, actually, sorry. So those things, Knip things, are unused in the TypeScript code base, and those things can be fixed up by, for instance, just removing the export keyword. And this is maybe good to mention as well, that when you remove that export keyword, then it's no longer exported, and that's cool. And then inside the file, so maybe we can just go to some example. So we have a reference group here. Sometimes when you remove that, you will find that the reference group is actually not used at all. So TypeScript understands this, but also ESLint would probably understand that within the same file, if it's not used, you can actually remove the whole interface in this case. So that is good to know, that Knip can is like a project linter, but it's not a single isolated file linter. And that is something that's still can be done by TypeScript or ESLint.
I want to pause there and highlight that. I think that's a really good distinction, and a better phrasing, actually, than what I personally use for Knip normally. The most common question I get from folks about Knip is, okay, can't ESLint just detect unused variables? But as you showed, ESLint just works on a per file basis. If something is exported from a file, even if it's not used by any other file, that's not a problem that ESLint structurally can detect. So Knip is able to do that project level view of, okay, I see this is exported from the file, but no one uses it. You can remove it probably.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and also I think that's why the two complement each other really great, because Knip is not trying to do anything that ESLint does already really well. yeah, so that's it's really something they have different goals and different use cases, and so yeah, this was. By the way, if you ever have doubts about whether Knip is doing the right thing, or if it finds something that is actually not used, or if it is, then basically what it should be doing is, if inside TypeScript you can do find all references, and that should not give anything else than itself, basically. So if you, I'm kind of losing the scroll position here, but when you have this single result only pointing to the implementation itself or to the type itself, then it means that indeed it is not used anywhere else, and then you can well, safely remove it.
Just out of curiosity, have you talked to the TypeScript folks or sent a PR to remove this stuff? Looks like a fairly straightforward removal for at least the interface you've shown.
Yeah, there's a pull request open at the moment in the TypeScript repository for this, and it may or may not get merged. I'm not sure yet. They are looking at it, but at the very least, Knip did find some stuff that can be removed from the code base, so they can basically accept the PR without actually including Knip in the process, which is great too, because of course it's better if you keep using Knip and don't have regressions and make sure that new issues don't creep in. But also they are busy with the TypeScript 5.4 release, which is also exciting, of course. And in the middle of that process, you don't want to, risk removing stuff that you might still need or whatever. So yeah. But yeah, it has been a nice way, because also it was like, okay, guys, here's my pull request. Let's see if we can improve it a bit. This is my thank you, because Knip relies for a big part on the TypeScript project, basically. So it was really, it's a essential part of Knip. And so yeah, I'm just opening the PR to help them clean up the project, and it was very beneficial for Knip to use it as an exercise to improve it, because the refactoring I did for the version 4 for Knip was is largely based on getting it right for the TypeScript code base, basically, because it has a lot of edge cases and yeah.
Cool. The TypeScript's great both in size for edge case detection and for performance testing.
Yes.
If you have a performance bug, checker.ts, their multi-tens of thousands line file, will discover that bug experimentally.
Indeed. And there's a lot of things that they do with namespace imports, re-exports, and those are all interesting and sometimes challenging things for Knip to get right. But yeah, I think by now it works pretty well, and that's also why it took some time. And like 1 month ago, I started the work and I wrote a little blog post saying, I don't know, the name was like slimming down to speed up on the Knip website itself. And it was all I wrote it because at that point I was thinking I'm on the right track, but also to keep myself accountable for actually finishing the work and making it happen. So yeah, but it took longer than I wanted. I need to admit this, but yeah, here we are, and I'm already getting some positive signals that it is indeed faster, and it's still working as expected. Because
great.
As your previous question, like there's a lot of things that can go wrong. Basically, it's also kind of like a fragile project, and yeah, there's a chance that it doesn't work perfectly in certain conditions. On the other hand, Knip is really trying to get it right in 8 or 9 or more out of 10 times, and I think there's a lot of value to be ahead from it. Yeah. All right. So yeah, this is basically how it works, and yeah, and also, well, in this example run, we don't see unused dependencies. So Knip does that as well, but the TypeScript project just doesn't have a lot of dependencies. And I think, where are we actually? Oh, this is the Knip code base, yeah. So there are not too many dependencies at all. So I also understand the resistance of adding another dependency to the TypeScript code base, because you bring in something that you have to maintain as well. So I get that. So let's just see where that ends. But I'm sure that, yeah, for the ESLint project, we can do something similar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for anyone who just joined in the chat, welcome. Thanks for coming over. Especially thanks, Daniel Rowe, for rating. This is actually a great time. You came here maybe 5 seconds too soon. This close enough. Our goal today is first to explain Knip, which is TLDR, a project that finds unused code, dependencies, and so on from your project at a scale higher than ESLint, so it can catch different classifications of unused stuff. And second, we're going to enable Knip on ESLint. I can't promise that we will send a PR that gets merged to ESLint, but at the very least, we're going to try to detect unused code in the ESLint codebase itself, which is, I think, really cool. With me is Lars, the creator of Knip. So yeah, Lars, right now you're sharing TypeScript. Can I propose you switch over to the ESLint repo, and then we start trying to enable Knip on that behemoth?
Yes, let's try that. I'm really I have no idea how this is going to go. So let's just see what will happen. So I just went to the ESLint GitHub repo to copy the Git URL. We can check it out and see what happens. All right. So ESLint. Yeah, I can see other repositories there too that I checked out before. That's cool. All right. I think I should do something like this, and yeah, so that we are inside the ESLint repository.
Are you sharing the right VS Code window?
No, but okay, now we are here again. So what's the best way to go about this? Okay, I'm just gonna install Knip. I think that's the easiest way. So what's that?
Oh yeah, I've seen this. ESLint, the repo, does not have a dependency on TypeScript. Furthermore, the repo actually requires using legacy peer dependencies when I locally install it. So I've only been able to run Knip on it using npx with a global Knip. Just a heads up.
All right, no problem. So I can just do this.
I think that should work.
Let's see.
By the way, if anyone in the chat has any questions, please feel free to ask. We're happy to talk. One of the goals for this is to show off, Knip and answer any questions folks have about it, because I think it's a fantastic project and I use it in roughly all my repos now.
Yeah, that's awesome. Just thank you very much for all the support. I really appreciate it. Yes. Okay, let's see if this we can get. Oh, by the way, I think ESLint, yeah, as you mentioned, so it's not using TypeScript at all. It's all is it like everything is JavaScript or CommonJS? Or ESM?
I believe it's CommonJS on the inside still. The reason why they don't use TypeScript internally is because they need to use their own parser to test it out. It's difficult for a tool to have a parser it doesn't test out. There is an open accepted issue for someone to write an RC to use TypeScript JSDoc checking in ESLint. So it's not that they're against using TypeScript in theory. It's just they have the practical restriction of the files need to be .js or .cjs.
Yeah, that makes sense.
This comes up once in a while. People get angry.
Yeah. Well, that's okay. That's another topic, I guess. But anyway, Knip should handle JavaScript files just as well. I'm just thinking, how can I? Because I need two windows. I need to share another window, I think, in VS Code. So I think I'm gonna stop sharing and then go start sharing my
Sure.
screen. Yeah.
I was curious how the Riverside display changes as we do that.
Yeah. All right. So here we are. You can see my ES Code window in ESLint now.
Yes, run and debug.
All right. Yes. Cool. Let's disable that. Okay. So here we are, and I guess yeah. So we added Knip here. So let's see what happens if you run it. Okay, that's cool. It's not exploding. It's doing stuff. We have a lot of results, so that's cool. So what kind of results? Oh, we cannot we cannot go back. So we have a lot of
A
results
lot of
here,
results.
and let's first check out the structure of the repository. So first we have this root package.json, and is it like, is it it's a mono repo, right? It has packages.
Yeah, it's like a hybrid mono repo. Lib, the folder, has a lot of the source code. Tests, the folder, has the tests. But then there's also the packages subdirectory with packages.
Okay. So, but there's no workspace configuration, as in not inside the package.json, and there's no pnpm works. Oh, no. Okay. Okay, no problem. But that means that we just need some Knip configuration. So let's just create that. And then we can just configure workspaces ourselves. Looks like we have, well, for now, we can just say, we use a wildcard to target both. Are there more? Is it, do you know, maybe? Is it?
I'm still not expert level on the ESLint code base.
No
but
worries.
I
I can just check. Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, there we go. Docs, packages, and then integration tests.
Yeah. All right, let's start up with the obvious ones. Okay, and so is the is the root workspace, is that, yeah, that's also the thing that is like published, right? This is ESLint, yeah.
Yes.
So then what is this? The JS, is it?
It's so ESLint is on its path towards becoming a very pluggable core that different languages such as JavaScript, TypeScript have packages for. That is the first language dedicated package.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So this is this index file will automatically be picked up by Knip as an entry part. So I think we're good here. And what Knip also does is it tries to look for entry parts itself. For instance, in a package.json file. So for instance, this lib api.js will be picked up. This bin eslint.js file will also be picked up. And the exports will also be picked up as entry files. So those things will be picked up automatically. So let's just see what happens now with the configuration that we have. It's a bit of a small screen, but okay. Yeah, that makes sense. There's a lot of test files and stuff that are now, he thinks they are unused, but okay, let's add those first, because they are probably part of the main package. So that one, actually, I forgot to even configure, is we should configure with a dot as the current directory, and say, well, so for instance, tests. So the test files are, right, I would say probably So they are all JS files in and the
Question
directories
for
below
you.
lib. All right, yeah.
The tests are done with Mocha, everyone's favorite classic JavaScript framework for test. Is there any ways that the fact that it's with Mocha could be automatically detected to do that implicitly?
Yes, there is. So Knip has a Mocha plugin, but I don't see configuration files here. So, but maybe it's inside the package.json. But no, that doesn't seem to be. So, but here's Mocha. Okay. And how is it run? How do we? I guess in some script here, we can look up how it's being tested. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. But I don't know by
Make
heart,
files.
the default entry paths for Mocha, but we can. Well, I'm sharing my screen here, so let's see. I can go to Knip, and for instance, quickly check out the Mocha plugin, and what it does is it looks by default. It looks here for entry file patterns, but now I understand the issue. This is test, and what we
Tests.
want exactly. There's an
Plural.
S. That's an S. So that's not the default location. But anyway, so we just change it, and I think this might even be like a better, because I saw a lot of fixtures and stuff. But okay, let's just go the Mocha way basically, and do this. And it's nice to organize. It's not necessary, but usually I prefer to organize it in this way so that you can easily see what belongs to what in terms of entry paths. So let's just, it's a bit of a small screen, so let's see what we can do here. Okay, well, tests and JS files are still here. Well, I don't know if it picks that up. It should.
Tests. Looks like it's right. Tests plural star.js.
Yeah.
So what is the format that
Uh,
we're looking at here? Under workspaces, you have string keys for the name of the workspace to a settings object. And then that settings object has why is it okay both to have Mocha as a key and entry? I don't follow this format.
Good. The way to configure Knip is by saying my entry file is like right here. Normally, you have something like this as an entry file for the rest of the project. So now Knip knows where to look for files, and also has a way like this. You can configure project files to know about all the files that you have. And from the entry file, it tries to create a dependency graph of the actually used files. So when you have that list of used files against the list of all the project files, then you know what files are not used.
Sure.
So that's step one basically, and then you can add more entry files as needed, and you could do that per plugin basically. So normally the plugins do their job, and we would not have to even do this at all. But unfortunately, there's this plural S in tests that we need to add. So that's why we can add an extra entry for entry files. But still, I was a little bit surprised about why it got
Answer in the chat.
here.
Shout out MDS Ubuntu. Knip JSON is in the packages directory, which I think neither of us noticed. Nice spot.
Sorry?
Check the folder path for Knip JSON. I think it's in packages, not the root.
Oh my God.
I love it. I've made that little thing. So I've spent so many hours of my life yelling at VS Code in my head for things like that. Great.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. This is amazing. Okay, so let's run it again and see what's happening. You can already see that connecting the dots took a little bit longer, so we are probably on the right track here now. So yeah, that looks much better now. Okay, great.
Yeah.
So we have a lot less unused files. I see that there is some JavaScript files in the docs folder. So let's just say that I don't know. This might. What is the docs file actually? There's 11t. It's the static site generator we are using.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. So there's a plugin. That's this is great. So the current plugin is like a little bit, let's say, naive. It's not very extensive yet. But today, as we speak, a contributor to the Knip repository is actually working on the 11t plugin. So this will be like today or tomorrow, I think, extended in a nice way. But we don't have that right now, and that's not an issue at all. But we just need to look here for the entry part. So I think I know. So in general, if you use Knip, if you are using a framework, or in this case it's 11t, could be anyone, or any framework. So then, yeah, this is the thing I was looking for. So what we should be looking for is the entry parts. That's always the thing that Knip is using to run and do its thing. So in this case, we have this input directive that we need, and then there's data. So we can just go with that. There's pages. Sorry, I don't know 11t at all, so I'm kind of looking at this for the first time and just seeing like, hey, what JavaScript is actually being used, and this seems all markdown. So maybe there's not too much to look at. And what is data? Because I saw data, yeah, JavaScript. Okay. So there is data, and I'm for now I'm just gonna make it a little bit easy here and say we need source underscore data, by the way, and we are also gonna add assets. And add all the assets JavaScript. By the way, entry files are always added as project files as well, so we don't need to duplicate that configuration, basically. All right, so let's see what's happening here.
Wait, sorry. I just want to highlight something before we continue. I think I understand this, but I didn't at first. Entry versus project. Entry is the entry path. Like this is, for example, like index.js or whatnot, where consumers might go in. And you might have multiple entries. Project is all the files that might transitively be included by any of your entry points. So generally a superset of entry. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's exactly the thing. And when Knip is using TypeScript extensively for to generate the dependency graph, actually. So when we start from this index.js, and then it has a lot of files that you import from there, and those files import other files, etc. Then you generate that tree of files, and this list of files is the subset of used files. So when you match that against all the project files, then you know what files are not used. And also, if an unused file is using a dependency, then that dependency is also not used. So for instance, if we have, let's say, this example file, it's not used at all, and and this is the only file that is using a certain dependency, then the dependency is also not used. So okay, let's. So we have a few unused files and examples. You know what? For now, I'm gonna. Later on, we can tweak it a little bit, but for now, I'm gonna ignore the examples. That is not always what you want, but it's often what you want. Like, so for now, I'm gonna do this just to clean up the output a little bit. Later on, we can look into it and see if we really want to ignore it or not. Maybe we should consider this like a separate workspace maybe, but it doesn't have a package adjacent, so I don't think so. But there's this ESLint config. But okay, for now we're gonna ignore it and start looking into the unused dependencies. Okay, so we have a whole list of them here in the root of the project. Now there's this regex thing. So let's see if we can find if it is actually used or not. Okay, so here's the reference in the package.json, and here we can see that it is actually being used in this no control regex file. So what we need is to make sure that that file is included in the analysis. And I wonder.
I can shortcut you, by the way, from past experience. Librules index.js is a lazy loading map that has a whole bunch of functions to CommonJS require sibling files.
Right. So, yeah. This is because most projects today use a source folder because they are using TypeScript often, and then you compile it to some lib or dist folder, and so now we are using JavaScript directly, which is totally cool, but we just need to update this. And we already have some entry files in the package.json, but so what I think that we should do is consider those rules as entry files, unless they are kind of included somewhere. There we go. So that's gonna make.
Because what if a rule is unused? Similar with the examples, I feel like this is a good start, but it does leave open to accidentally leaving an unused rule file in there, for example.
Sorry, it does leave open to?
If a rule file is unused, like if it shouldn't be an entry, because this feels to me like it's a workaround adding rules as entries, but ideally somehow lib index.js, whatever the entry or entries are, should be able to transitively get to them. Yeah.
So ideally, because sometimes files are like auto imported or have some crazy way to magically get included into the final published or distributed package. But in this case, well, in general, you always want to look at this entry that contains all your other files. And so what Knip does is look for require statements and then resolve it to the file and include the file in the program, in the total set of resolved files. So yeah, in general, you want to have as little items in the entry array as possible. And I'm seeing some better results now here. So for instance, there's unused. We don't even have unused dependencies anymore. We only have unused dev dependencies. So that's
nice.
Sounds promising. So let's just take a look at the first one. There's Argolia search. Okay, I can make it smaller. All right, so here we are. we can import this one from this file. Let's see if it's here.
What? Todd.
Ah, good. So now what Knip actually found is that the file isn't there, and it's also reporting that because it has one file that cannot be resolved. And the interesting thing is actually that this package is indeed not used at all.
I think I found where it's used actually.
Yeah, because it's not referenced anywhere else. If I do a full, so I think I'll go with our.
Go to the first search result under 11DJS, the file, and be horrified.
Ah.
Pass through. I've never seen this before. I'm not a big 11D person myself.
I see. Okay. Yeah. This cases like this are indeed challenging to Knip, and not necessarily impossible. But the thing is that so we are inside the 11T configuration, and somehow the 11T plugin needs to know about this. And then if it sees something like this, it can actually understand that it is a node module and that it is some external dependency and that it is Algolia search dependency. So that's possible. It's just not working right now. So, but yeah, this is this is difficult for Knip to understand because it's not a regular import or require statement. It's nothing like that. So this is really like a this is something that the 11T plugin needs to do, but we don't have that yet. So what I'm going to do now is to have so for the docs workspace, we are going to say, okay, this is a dependency we are going to ignore. There is not much else we can do about that.
It would be nice if, as a consumer, I could, well, obviously, of course, step one, file an issue on Knip to help the project. But two, in the interim, write my own like transform logic of like, given my particular project, I wish I could like say like from one file, parse things out this way. Like even just write my own regex for, capturing node module /parentheses.star.
Well, the first thing is that, I'm not sure. No, there's no such custom thing you can do with Knip, I guess. No.
I'll file an issue.
Yeah, thanks. And I'm not even. I'm pretty sure we can fix it in the 11T plugin, but I'm not 100% sure yet because this is, I guess. It needs to be returned from the 11T config. So when there's a function, I cannot see a lot here, but because it returns this, and I hope that it will be returned here, and that it is somehow accessible to the 11T plugin. But okay, let's see. Yeah, please file the issue, absolutely. Okay, so the next one is the auto prefixer. I already saw post CSS configuration. So there is where it should be found by. Now, post CSS is here. Yeah. So the post CSS CLI should be the trigger to activate the post CSS plugin because Knip has a post CSS plugin actually. Let's see why it isn't triggered yet. Well, it doesn't matter. We are just gonna because that's one of the things that we one of the things that we can do with Knip is to basically force plugins to be activated.
That's cool.
Also, now it should find this file. I'm not sure yet, actually. I think the best way to go about it is to say, okay, this is, and the most clear way to go about it is this one, that you can say, okay, the configuration file is the post CSS config. So now we are going to do it again. Cannot find module auto prefixer. Yeah, good. So it's working.
Great.
But and we know it because the auto prefixer dependencies is like required here, is imported here, but it's not there because as you mentioned, this repository is like a hybrid, so it's not really a mono-roper with workspaces as the package managers would do. So I guess we need to install the dependencies manually. That's fine. But yeah, Knip is actually executing the configuration files. If they are dynamic, like this 11t1 or the post CSS one, then it actually executes them because it needs to parse them and parse the return value so that it can make sense of them. If a configuration file has only require and import statements, then it doesn't have to execute them. But when a configuration file is like ESLint, for instance, this is actually a nice example. But this is going to be a complicated one. This is nice. Yeah, but this is okay. So, for instance, if you have a plugin like this, or extends directives like this, then the ESLint plugin inside Knip, so it's going to be a little bit meta here, but the Knip plugin understands that when you have, let's say, this internal rules plugin, that this should resolve to the ESLint -plugin internal rules package. But this is a kind of recursive thing almost, but yeah. And in this case, this plugin is also very magic because this one, I think, resolves to the ESLint plugin package.
The ESLint plugin to lint your ESLint plugins. Yes.
Yeah. So, and then you have other things like N is the ESLint plugin N package, etc. So, so what I wanted to say is that in this case, the Knip ESLint plugin needs to parse this file, really load it, and parse the return object to find packages that are actually used inside it. So they are not regular require or import statements. So that's why it needs the additional resolving of the object that it returns, and then try to figure out what packages are referenced. Like by this string only, it needs to figure out that this means the ESLint plugin N dependency. Yeah. Okay, so but in this case, it's not required. So here we can actually make it just an entry file, and then that's actually enough in the case of post CSS. Okay, so let's go back and just see if the CSS Nano and post CSS dependencies are no longer like unused. There's progress because when we went to the file, we could see that there's auto prefixer and CSS Nano, and those are no longer seen as unused dev dependencies.
Nice.
So ideally, Knip would have figured this out all by itself, but that did not happen. So this is basically the process that we need to follow when we are dealing in projects that don't have the defaults guessable for Knip, basically. And in this case, I can show you exactly why it didn't find this configuration file by itself, because Knip has a post CSS plugin. Oh,
I love this.
Post CSS plugin. And the enablers are basically the packages that it looks for when it figures out if it should enable a plugin or not. So this is the package that it needs. But as we could see in the, oh, sorry, I had another project open. So as we could see in this package.json, there is a post CSS CLI package and not just the post CSS package. So that's why I didn't find it. So in the meantime, I can do, for instance, so I'm on another screen now. I know I'm gonna fix Knip for this basically.
Cool. I should note also, I think Remix added support for post CSS past year, so that's another issue I can file.
Yes, it is.
Cool.
Packages or Knip, yes. Okay, so now I have a version of Knip running on my own machine that we can use here. And now if I just say I can post CSS CLI, add this item here. And now when I'm basically here and use my globally installed version, I don't need all of this.
Cool.
If it goes well.
You linked your own fancy schmancy local Knip.
It's just and it's like yeah, it's just a watcher for to rebuild the project again. Yeah. So now cool. This is it's working. So
cool.
When Knip receives the fix, when it is fixed, we don't need the post CSS configuration anymore, and we will live happy forever. Now, this one also needs, I was a little bit surprised to find that this is also a default location that Mocha will look for test files, but apparently it is. So that's also something that we can fix in the Mocha plugin. And then we also don't need this configuration anymore. So, like I said, sometimes this is a little bit of a hassle to go through, but I still think it's worth it to just configure Knip properly, and then you will keep then regression don't need to creep into the project as it comes to unused files and dependencies. Cool. All right, so that's two examples. Now we had Mocha and Eleventy, and let's see. Let's just go to the. Well, what do you prefer, Josh? We can finish up the docs package, just go it one by one, or we can move on to the root ESLint package, or.
I'm going to have to go in about 13 minutes. So I'd love to get some kind of actionable file removal out of this. Specifically looking at the unused files, all three of them are of interest to me.
Okay. Yeah.
Anything named serviceworker.js, I get this hunch that might be included in the doc site implicitly automagically. That being said, it's an empty file. Yeah, so
but that doesn't mean it's not used. I mean, empty files can be used, but I have a hunch. Usually, files like this are referenced maybe in some HTML file or in some template file that is not parsed by Knip. So it is referenced. But yeah, let's just usually we can just no. It seems to be unused. I cannot find it anywhere. So
I also, in parallel, opened eslint.org, did a view search, and then also a console elements search on service worker, and that string, nothing.
Yeah. Okay.
So
also this one seems to be unused.
I'd love to see, by the way, your steps to make sure. You've already alluded to them in this stream. You see a file reported by Knip. What do you do next, such as searching the file name in alt text?
Yeah, good point. It's really beneficial to run this inside the VS Code terminal, because then you can just jump to files directly. This is great. Also, you can jump to the file including the correct line and position, so you really get exactly where you want to go. So as it comes to those unused files and figure out if they are actually unused, that is currently still looking up the file, and usually I already know, like, okay, this is inside the docs folder, so it doesn't make sense to look for the full string, because usually, if it would be referenced, always take a small portion of the full part, because it never references the full part. It's usually some relative part. And this is just like a global search, and it makes sense to include only the docs workspace, so you have like a more targeted search, which is faster and more precise, of course, because you can have service worker files in other workspaces. So yeah, that's kind of that's not very sophisticated. It's just looking for the string and see if you can find it somewhere in some template or something. Yeah.
That makes sense. Knip is doing all the fancy, sophisticated stuff on the inside, and we're just doing, basic did it work checks on the outside.
Yeah. So I think where Knip brings a lot of value is because normally if you want to clean up a project, it's just difficult to figure out even where to start. So Knip can be very helpful in getting you started even into the process. And the other thing that Knip has is if you look at the results of the unused dependencies, for instance, or the unused exports, which we have also here, like unused exports, I guess. Yeah. So here are some unused exports. If you do some like smoke testing, or you just check a few, and if you think the results are correct, then what you can do is just to say, hey, fix it for me. And it can delete, it will remove the dependencies from the package.json file, and also remove the export keywords for those unused exports. So I'm not going to do that now, because we didn't really go through all of them and see if they are correct or not. But there's a way to, and it will improve over time, but you can auto fix those issues. And yeah.
Cool. Nice.
Yeah.
So for these unused files then, so the first one, we can't be 100% positive, because who knows, with frameworks we haven't touched much, but with the other two, it seems to me like they're pretty straightforward. This is just never used files. So that's cool.
Yeah. And all of them seem to be unused. Yeah. Even the deprecation warnings, I don't see referenced anywhere when I do a global search. So I think all of them can be removed, actually. Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome.
So
do you want to do that right now? Send a quick little PR to ESLint. We do have prior approval, by the way. I did ask in the Discord, and they said, yeah, just send it in.
Oh, that's awesome. That's really nice, because having Knip included in projects like this is really cool, because they are large code bases in general. Complicated code bases is something that Knip really likes to exercise on, basically. So cool.
Good for the project.
I want to. The thing is, I'm happy to do that, and I can create the pull request. But I think it's good to. I can open like a small pull request with some basic changes, and not change the whole thing at once, because I think it's good to first discuss in what parts of the code base we want to use Knip, and also if we want to actually add it to the CI pipelines. Like, do we want to automate it so that if people keep adding code, it will continuously be checked.
So that's actually, I think, a really good topic to spend our last 5 minutes on. So I have a code base. It's some arbitrarily large code base. I have an arbitrarily large number of teammates, past, present, and future. What would be
Mhm.
your starting recommendation or algorithm for introducing Knip, if possible?
Yeah, I think what I've done here with ESLint is kind of the way I do it myself. So just go into the project, just figure out well, in your own project you already know, but so figure out if you need to add additional workspaces. So, and that's why ESLint is a little bit of yeah, you need to do some extra configuration, but many workspaces have, sorry, many mono repos already have the workspaces configured. So we don't need to do things like this, for instance. They are already configured for the NPM or PNPM package manager or Yarn. And then you go in and figure out entry files. That's really the most essential thing to do. Like if it's not on a default location, like source/index or the root index.js, then then we need to figure out the entry files, and maybe if there's plugins, then if you use those things, for instance, we have Eleventy or Mocha or PostCSS or whatever, usually Knip will do the right thing. But if you are using custom locations or you have it configured differently, then sometimes you just need to help Knip a little bit and tell it where to find the files. And that is really the most of it. And what is also good to know is that to Knip, a workspace is a directory which has a package.json file. So it does not have to be a workspace in the sense that that PNPM or NPM understands. You can just add entries to the workspace configuration object here, and then it just needs to have a package.json file, so Knip can match them against the things that are actually imported in your source code to see what is used or not.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Cool.
Also, the very last thing I would like to mention is that as we could see in the for instance in the Eleventy configuration, most plugins. So like I mentioned, Eleventy is not there yet, but it will be like today or tomorrow. Then if you use, for instance, this input option for Eleventy, and if you would have something completely different, then Knip will actually use that so that you don't need to configure it yourself here or wherever. So in this case, we are doing it manually because the Eleventy plugin is not so sophisticated yet, but it will be, and then it will actually use those options. So the Knip plugins are like designed to really take the configuration of the framework into account and really work from there and figure out what the entry paths should be for each plugin individually.
Cool.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So
Well,
everything is my pleasure. Everything is designed and it's gonna improve further down the road. But the whole idea is that you need to configure as little as possible. So please, if you find any issues, or as we already did, file tickets against the Knip, and we can improve it. So the more we do this, the less people need to configure as we move forward.
I love it. The less configuration, the better. It's a good
Yeah,
methodology.
exactly.
Yeah. Any last words, links, suggestions you want to leave the audience with before we hang up for the day?
Is there maybe there's any questions from the crowd, or?
I do wonder how much my inability to properly get OBS wrangled into submission has impacted the stream viewership, as I am personally not a fan of the layout that we ended up with. But we'll have to.
No problem.
I'll figure it out for next time. figure out Twitch or just suck it up and pay a service?
No problem, no problem. But okay, just asking to be sure. If somebody has questions, then you could answer them. But no, no, I'm just very. Knip is really a project I like to work on because it's not too small, it's not too large, it's good to handle, and there's a lot of things that I can learn from it myself. But I'm also very motivated to make sure that developers don't need to do the boring tasks that they don't like to do, and Knip is really trying to fill that gap basically. That is left when you use ESLint. There's still which is an absolutely fantastic tool for so many years already. But there's there's like a gap after that, like beyond Knip, beyond ESLint, there is some project linting that can be done, and Knip is just trying to do that.
Yeah, for sure. Cool. Well, that's all the time we have. What a perfect ending. Lars, thank you for coming on and helping out with ESLint. I'm looking forward to filing issues and seeing good results coming out of it.
Yeah, I appreciate it. It was great to be on the show, and I'm happy to submit a pull request to ESLint.
Awesome. Well, I'll see you around. Bye, Lars.
All right,
bye, everyone.
Yep.
And